Okay, so today I want to talk about Mad Girl by Bryony Gordon. Mad Girl is the autobiography of the journalist Bryony Gordon. There she is. And she documents her life struggling with OCD and depression and bulimia and alopecia and drug addiction and alcoholism, and it's just wow. I knew when I first saw it that I wanted to read it. The cover, which I am ashamed to say, actually drew me in, but then that's what book covers are supposed to do, aren't they? And then when I read the blurb, I knew that I had to read it. If you've not read the blurb, I'll link to the page so you can have a little look. But basically, there aren't words. There should be words, but there aren't. I will read you what I wrote when I first started reading it, just to demonstrate my feelings, because I actually managed to put some decent words down on paper for once. So I said, I knew as soon as I saw it in work that I wanted to read it. I work in a bookshop. The yellow cover and the silver bubble called out to me as if knowing I would love it, as if I was destined to pick it up. I was itching to read it for 2 weeks before I finally got it for my birthday. And honestly, even though I haven't yet started chapter 4, I know it's one of my favourite books. Alongside The Bell Jar and Girl Up, Mad Girl ranks highly in my library. Not only is her writing style so honest and consumable, but the whole premise of the book just makes me cry. Literally. I'm almost positive that there are books on first hand dealing with OCD, but she has honestly captured thought processes so well. Reading it is making me appreciate what I don't have to live through, and is making me so sympathetic, and to some extent empathetic, for those going through god-awful mental diseases. I'm noticing my own thought processes, to a much smaller degree thankfully, in what she's saying, and although I can never experience how she feels and what she's lived through as of many others, I can begin to comprehend it. It frustrates me that I can't find the right words to express this deep sense of gratitude and sympathy and empathy I feel for her. This amount of respect I have for her writing of this book, of making her truth accessible to everyone. I am so grateful, and I honestly think that everyone should read it. I haven't felt this way about a book for a while, and the fact that it's non-fiction kind of makes me love it even more, because I'm not a big non-fiction reader. I'm much more of a fiction reader. And so to have one of my favourite books to be non-fiction, actually, thinking about that, all three of the books that I mentioned, Mad Girl, Girl Up and The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, are non-fiction, pretty much. I mean, The Bell Jar is semi-autobiographical. The Bell Jar is... I mean, The Bell Jar is semi-autobiographical. Semi-autobiographical. That's how you say it. And so I found quite a few connections between these two books. Whilst they are extremes, they are both very relatable books. And if you haven't read either of them, just read them. I might do another thought about this one another time, but I just want to focus on this one. The funny thing was, when I first started reading it, one of the first things that I thought about was Sylvia Plath. The way that she writes and the way that she expresses her thought processes and what her thought processes were really made me think about Sylvia Plath. And it wasn't until, I mean, I got to about chapter 4, chapter 5, and that's when I generally kind of start reading around the book. So I'll reread the blurb to say like, oh yes, I understand this bit now. I like doing that. I like coming back to the blurb. But then I also, when I get to about chapter 4, chapter 5, I'll read through these bits here where other authors are talking about it, and I'll flick through all these pages. and I'll try and understand what she's said. And I got to this page, and it's a Sylvia Plath quote, and I thought that was just so appropriate and so crazy that I had thought about Sylvia Plath. And the quote is, "I think I made you up inside my head." Sylvia Plath, Mad Girl's Love Song. I thought the poem might be in this one. This is the selected poems that we studied last year in English literature, alongside Ted Hughes's selected poems by Simon Armitage, but it's not in there, so I would have read a bit more, but I don't have it, so I can't. But yeah, they were my thoughts on Mad Girl, and I just thought that I had to document my thoughts. Additionally, I also keep a little notebook. I bought this from Harry Potter Studios. This is how I document what I read. So I've got all the books that I read last year in here. I only read 20 books last year, which is just not enough. But then I just didn't have time, and so I read what I could, and that is the main thing. But if we go to Mad Girl, I'll just read you what I've written. So I've said, again, basically just another one of those. Just an all-round effing beautiful book is how you want to be able to describe a book. And that's the sentence that popped into my head about this one. I knew when I first saw it in work that I had to read it. For starters, the cover, it's yellow. Then I read the blurb and just knew that I'd love it. Couldn't even read my handwriting then. A chapter in, and I hold it to my chest, thinking about the importance of mental health awareness and wanting to do something about it. I felt straight away a link between her and Sylvia Plath, and upon flicking through the pages before and after the beginning and end, I found that her epigraph was Plath. I hadn't seen it before making the connection. Once I had, oh my word, the tears. I wanted to keep reading this book, but I didn't want it to end, and that's always a sign of a good book. Thank you, Bryony, for sharing your story and for making me realise and remember things. Especially that I want to explore the world and swim in freezing seas with a tiny boat of 5 other people. Thank you for sharing the effing weird experiences and the wisdom and absolute stupidity throughout your life with a brass honesty. Just thank you. And I don't think I can say anything else. Just thank you, Bryony. I'll put a link in the description to the book and what it's about, and maybe some of Bryony's bits and bobs. So thank you for watching, and I shall see you when I see you. Hiya.